21st century is often referenced in education. We talk about education for the 21st century skills, and educating the 21st century learner. Now, I actually cringe when I hear 21st century because I find it so limiting. There's a video called Shift Happens, and it's shift with an F. And in it, it says that we are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, that will be using technologies that have yet to be invented to solve problems that we don't even know are problems yet. Now, I suggest that we look at the TED Talks, and TED Talks are ideas worth spreading. And here's my idea. I think it's time that we move beyond just numbers and we expand our thinking, that we change our words, and we move beyond the number of the 21st century and start talking about educating the new humanity. And what do I mean by the new humanity? The new humanity is a humanity that seeks to cultivate a peaceful world of love, beauty, and selfless service. It's a harmonious world that embraces unity, interconnectedness, and the resilience of all. And what does educating the new humanity look like? Educating the new humanity focuses on teaching and learning that recognizes each individual as a whole person, unique but united in the world. And what does educating the new humanity look like in the schools? Educating the new humanity is recognizing, and not just recognizing, but honoring each student as a whole child. Now, we hear the term whole child used in education. And many of you may know that the whole child consists of the cognitive, physical, social, emotional, and spiritual components. Now, we do a really good job in education in the first four, especially now since social emotional learning has really found the important place in education. But you know what? We still don't do a good job with spirituality in education. And much of that is because education is so afraid of confusing spirituality with religion. But spirituality is not religion. And I ask you, if in fact we aren't going to address the spirituality component in our students and in our schools, can we really say that we are educating the whole child? I think not. My research in resilience, my research findings have found consistent findings with others in research, and who have found that it is often the spirituality component in our students that's the portal for them to tap into their resilience as they confront and navigate the family, school, and life challenges of today. Yet, like I said, we are so afraid of bringing spirituality in our schools for fear of confusing spirituality with religion. So I want to take a minute and, without value judgment, make some distinctions between spirituality and religion. Religion is an institution organized around ideology, doctrine, beliefs, and rules. Spirituality is something very individual and personal to each person. Religion is something we belong to. Spirituality is something we seek. We often talk about being on a path. Religion is getting answers to those big questions. Spirituality is getting permission to ask the big questions, like the purpose and meaning of life. Religion is often guided by voices from the outside, from clergy, ministers, pastors, priests, rabbis. Spirituality is guided by our hearts, the voices within. Now, within the context of education, I talk about spirituality as the natural awe and wonder and intuition, wisdom, and reverence for life that often gets sucked out of kids as they get older. Now, in education, we have to recognize that there are people who have done research. Nell Noddings, professor at Stanford, in her book, The Challenge to Care in Schools, she talks about spirituality as being one of the things that's lacking most in public school education. Parker Palmer, author of Courage to Teach, he talks about and defines spirituality as the eternal human yearning to be connected to something greater than one's own ego. And he too recognizes that spirituality is missing in education and with our students. So now the question becomes, can we do this in education? Well, not only can we do it, but in fact we are doing it. I have the privilege of being the Director of Engagement and Professional Development at a school in Lafayette, California called the Mayer Schools. Mayer means compassion. The Mayer Schools has a white pony component of preschool and then a K-5 component called the Mayer School. And together they were called the Mayer Schools. Now the Mayer Schools fosters individual achievement in an atmosphere that celebrates creative expression, unity, inclusivity, and diversity. We are truly a school of the heart, committed and dedicated to educating and recognizing and honoring the whole child. Now, what does this look like? I want to tell you a story about what it looks like in our schools, because one of the things at our school, we have a physical environment that totally embraces beauty. Our schools are surrounded by gardens. We have gardens throughout the school. And these are gardens that are butterfly gardens, fruit gardens, vegetable gardens, and the kids tend all the gardens. We also have no desks in our classrooms. Instead, we have tables that encourage cooperative learning groups, and we encourage our students to help each other, not compete against each other. In fact, there's a cute story about how one of our students one time, a teacher was teaching, and someone raised their hand and she said, "So-and-so is looking on my paper." And the answer that the teacher gave was, "Well, then move it closer so they don't have to strain." Our curriculum is infused with the arts. We hold, at the Mayer School, we hold that the arts are the vehicle that express the beauty and unity that underlie diversity. We hold the arts to be the catalyst and the tool that touches passion and love with all our students. And I'm going to give you a story of what this looks like. Our teachers work tirelessly throughout the curriculum to infuse drama, dance, song, storytelling, and visual arts. One time I was in the preschool. These are 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds. And I was sitting in the circle with the kids, and there was a teacher sitting in a chair, and she was beginning her drama of Jack and Beanstalk. And she begins and starts going, and she hits the tirade of fee, fi, fo, fum. And right after that, a little child speaks up and said, "Why is the giant so mean?" And the teacher, she could have stayed in character, or she could have just ignored the question, but instead, she stopped, took a cleansing breath, clasped her hands, and then put them over her heart and said, "Sometimes people's hearts are not yet awake. That's why the giant behaved the way he did. His heart was still asleep." And with that, the child was satisfied with the answer, the other children were satisfied with the answer, and I was totally blown away with the answer. By the way, the teacher then went back and started where she left off with the fee, fi, fo, fum part. I realized right there and then that teacher was doing something really phenomenal and really beautiful and really special. Children are innately kind. The children in the room, they're innately kind. The giant wasn't. And there was the cognitive dissonance with the children. But that teacher was able to recognize the cognitive dissonance and preserve the optimism, hope, and humanity, and wonder, and love for those children. Now, as I said, it's things like the awe, the wonder, the reverence for life, the intuition that diminishes as our children get older. But you don't have to take my word for it. I want to share with you a letter that we received at our school, an anonymous letter, and it talks about what happened to these children as they went into high school. And to just give you some context with this letter was written by students who otherwise, they went to the Mayer School. And if they went to another school, they would have probably had to be in special ed classes. But the Mayer School practices inclusivity. And so students may be in our classrooms and they may have aides that are working with them or they have accommodations, but our students are all in the same classroom, and we don't have special ed classrooms at the Mayer School. So here's the letter. Dear Mayer School, the other night I met up with a boy I hadn't seen since we were 4th graders together. We caught up and bonded over the fact that neither of us liked high school, which we realized was the result of such a wholesome elementary experience. After growing up in such a nurturing world of acceptance and love, high school seems shallow. What is special ed? I wondered on my first day of 6th grade and never understood what happened to the beautiful inclusiveness that blessed the first decade of my life. Thank you for shaping your students into such kind-hearted people. Good luck with this new year. With appreciation, graduates. Because the Mayer School touches and works through the heart, over 100 songs have specifically been written for the Mayer Schools to amplify the principles of love, beauty, and selfless service. And so with that, I'd like to just share with you the lyrics to one of our songs. and it's called When Every Heart Shall Beat as One. When every heart shall beat as one, and all mankind unite, then every land beneath the sun shall shine with truth and light. For darkness dwells with selfishness, and light in unity. When every heart shall beat as one, then one in love will be. When in my eyes you see yourself, and I see me in yours, then we shall share the greatest wealth our lustrous flow endures. For love increases when it's shared and leads to unity. Through love our hearts shall beat as one in the new humanity.
When every heart shall beat as one, and all mankind unite, then every land beneath the sun shall shine with truth and light. For darkness dwells in selfishness, and light in unity. When every heart shall beat as one, then one with truth will be. When in my eyes you see yourself, and I see me in yours, then we shall share the greatest wealth, whose lustrous glow endures. For love increases when it's shared, and leads to unity. Through love our hearts shall beat as one in the new